What's up, everyone? Bryce Koon here. Swarm Talk, Crowded Booth. Thanks for tuning in. We got Ralph Larry in the background, Will Manis as well, as we get ready to rock and roll on what should be a very interesting show tonight. Now, a couple of news and notes. If you're paying attention down at the bottom, you see the call-in number, 706-940-2315. We're going to be opening up the phone lines. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. We got you on mute right now. As we just try to dissect this game, Ralph and I hopped in the stream and we watched this game, and I am going to tell you, it's not pretty. This defense is not good. The offense isn't consistent enough. I'll say this: Ralph helped me do the LSU show about an hour ago. The massive difference between these two teams, they both have terrible defenses. The problem is LSU probably has one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the country. And we're not muted. Am I muted? How am I muted, GT Bowhunter? I can't. Yeah, I can't be muted. That being said, you wrecked my train of thought. Georgia Tech doesn't have that. They don't have the consistent offense to overcome what they want to do. So once again, appreciate you tuning in. We're going to open the phone lines as we kind of get done talking about what we're talking about. But it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun to hear from you what you have to say. I'm excited. It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Ralph's got we got stats and info here with Will's rocking red and black in the background tonight. So if that tells you how it is. The call-in number is muted right now. 38-27 final. Bowling Green beats Georgia Tech. Where do we start? Well, let's get with the first topic of conversation. Ralph, throw it up there. This offense has to be more creative. I think going back and watching this game, looking at the drive charts, we're going to talk about this. One of the things that I can take away is that I think that Buster Faulkner has mastered the ability to script a game from the opening get-go. We saw it against, Louisville. They did start slow, but there were some things that obviously you liked. They just didn't really execute. You did against South Carolina State. Ole Miss, you were able to find some things against a better team. You also, I think the big thing is, you also think too that one of the big things against Wake Forest, you're able to do the same thing. So for me, the opening script of football games has been something that's really I've been impressed with. I think that Buster Faulkner has done a good job with that. That being said, this is an inability to consistently move the football is a problem. I had some notes that I was going to run in here. Haynes King, we can sit there, we can point fingers, we can blame, the inability to do certain things that he was unable to do. This game's ultimately not on him. That second pick really wasn't his fault. I think that's something that's obviously frustrating for fans to watch, when you talk about. But King did kind of cost his team, I would say, around 7 to 10 points. Yes, and the feasibility of man was the ability to move the football. There's no doubt about that. They cost the team 10 points, no doubt about it. Thanks to his, they had intentional grounding play. He probably should have just ate that sack, and then they could have kicked a medium range field goal instead of kind of just rolling out and doing that. I would encourage right here. Let's go ahead and get to this first comment. Look, we don't have the hotline that we've got for tonight is not necessarily that of one that is going to be able to prevent things. What it is that Zach, we're sorry. Like this is one of the worst losses I think that Georgia Tech has undergone since Paul Johnson's left. And we don't need to make it a comparison factor between Key and everything, but it's really, really bad. Offensively, they can't make up for the fallacy that is this Georgia Tech defense. It's just not good. Like there is not anything that we're saying about do not slander Paul Johnson. Can someone, who is this Will Manis guy? Who is that guy? You can't. I want to say this. You can't really get the guy off the show. What are we doing? What is happening? Yeah, no. Citadel was bad. We're trying to run a professional operation here. Trey Cooley did what Trey Cooley was going to do. I don't know. I mean, like you can't really talk about this game. Dominic Blaylock had a great game. 7 catches, 131 yards, no touchdowns. Rutherford 67 yards. Singleton, it continues. I mean, look, you're going to have. I mean, Eric Singleton is going to be poached if you don't, and people got mad at me about saying that. Like that's what this is. And so I think that is kind of where we are. The run game was non-existent. 21 carries, 69 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. Just not good. King was 23, 37, 348. You kind of get into like the explosive plays. This is one thing that was like really, really concerning for me. Bowling Green had 6 pass plays that gained 15 yards or more. They had 11 rushing plays. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech had 12 and just 5 in that same category. So, you didn't lose this game because of your offense necessarily, but the offense still needs to bring question. Like, I think that we have to see a more developed game plan, and I think they're really, really struggling with game flow. I think that we can sit here and say that the game flow play calling is a weakness right now for Buster Faulkner and this team. You script out the first however many plays, the play sheet. And once again, I know a couple people actually tuned into this game that, or into the show earlier about LSU. That being said, it's just crazy. We got, Bowling Green had 10 penalties for 113 yards. Cooley 2 carries, 3 yards. I mean, you can't be a lead back. You can't be a contributing back and have that type of numbers. 21 carries altogether. I'm not inspired by the offense right now. After those 2 drives, they just really, it's kind of crazy. And you go back and look at the drive chart, which we don't really need to beat a dead horse in this sense. It's not good. Like, this offense is not very good. So all that being said, we're going to get to some of the comments, but I really, really, really want to talk about this defense. So let's move on to this. Offense, I'm not inspired. After the 2 drives, it was good. This defense is bad. They're really, really bad. And I'm not saying that to pick on anybody. I mean, I know a lot of, uptight Georgia Tech fans think that we do this show to make fun of them. No, I mean, first off, I wouldn't waste my time doing something like that. That just is not worth my time. So this defense is giving up an average of 30.8 points per game. They are the 105th scoring defense in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, there's 133 FBS teams in this country, and they are ranked 131 in pass defense. Now, albeit coaching, albeit the players not executing, certain players being hurt, I don't care. I just genuinely, I don't care to hear excuses. I don't think the fans do either. My question is, if these guys can't get it done, and they're not, whether it's the basic fundamentals, whether it is the inability to just be present when things are happening and have the awareness to be able to do things, whatever it might be, the problem is that you've got guys, where are they? Where's Rodney Shelley? Like, where are certain players that apparently had a good fall camp, but who knows? You got guys like Tay Seymour, the freshman that we would like to see play more. Maybe Omar Daniels, Kenyatta Watson, Sarad Bryant. You just go into these names, and it's like, it's the same. I had someone text me this that is an alum of the program. He cares and he played, and he said it's just the same thing, different year. That's what we saw on the field. And it's a black guy. I'm not saying that we need to write anybody off, but man, this is a major problem. Like, this defense is awful. Now, we're going to talk about Kevin Shearer. Does it make a difference? I think there's a talent issue at linebacker position. I talked about this last week. The drop off from what they had last year between Charlie Thomas and Ace Ely, it's just not there. They can't settle on it. I mean, Ralph and I were watching the game. We were doing everything short of like breaking the film down. They can't fit gaps. They can't set the edge. They can't tackle. Like, it's just basic level defense that I agree. And I don't want to put the comment up right now, but I mean, Green 74 brings up a great point over on the YouTube channel. Like, it's a mess. Let's throw his comment up, Ralph. Like, you can throw that up. That's fine. We'll throw that one up, and then we'll get to the other ones later. It's a mess, and it's going to take way more than new DC. He meant to say, obviously, to fix, because this is just fundamentally unsound. And so, I don't think you can go into the rest of the season and say, wow, that game right there, we're going to win. I think Virginia's terrible. I think they're absolutely horrible. But I don't think that you can go in there and beat them, because you don't have the offense to overcome this, because you haven't shown it consistently. And I'm okay with not having the offense to do that. but you got to just be at least respectable defensively. And so what it kind of opens the cards as here, and once again, you can clip that because I know people have been clipping stuff of me just in putting random memes on it. It shows you that this defense was super dependent on turnovers, and when you don't have that, they're exposed for what they are, and it's a defense that's not fundamentally sound. They're not fundamentally sound what they are. It's not working. Like whatever they are doing, whatever they spent all of fall camp doing, whatever's working in the film room, whatever or not working, whatever they're doing in the film room, whatever they're doing, through in walkthroughs and in t-shirts and in shorts, and to put these guys in positions like obviously, and Ralph can attest to this too. We didn't play high level football at all. Like we played low level, but there's a certain thing where you talk about this defense. And you have days during the summer, you have days during spring where you're in shorts and a t-shirt, and even like walkthrough days, and you're literally just they're going through in slow motion where to go. And I understand game speed's different. Like I get that, and that's why I continue to say that obviously we're going to see what happens here. My man Clone Trooper in the Discord already got a screenshot of me looking absolutely zooted on the podcast. That being said, I it's just not working. And to run it out there, and I want to bring this up, like to run it out there 4 games in a row, now 5 games in a row, it's asinine. Like it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think that you're going to go out there and do anything different. So I think yes. So we're going to get to a couple of the comments here. We're going to open up the phone lines. Once again, you see the number down there below, 706-940-2315. We're going to try to get to all of your calls. I just think that you missed on a lot of things. Like I see the comment there. Do you think we went on the linebacker transfers? Yeah. Like no one through if you haven't hit on anybody through 5 weeks, like it's just not going to happen. Like I don't know how that's going to happen. So maybe the all black jerseys and the 87-degree weather played a factor. Stick to the white and gold. I mean, dude, if you're losing to a mid-level MAC team because you're a little hot, like my God, shut the program down. Like that's just stupid. Like that. I mean, like I understand it might have been hot, but like that's dumb. That's an absolute just asinine excuse if you want to put one on this. There's no sugarcoating this. This is a bad loss. I want to see the young guys. Like at some point, you just have to do that. Yeah, and let's get to GT Bo 190's comment right here. This is absolutely perfect. This is what I want to see right here. Palmala. Like people kept hyping him up, like, oh, he's gonna be this and this. And we talked highly about him, like what we had heard and what people had thought coming in, what the potential of him. It's not working. It's just not working. And I say this every single time. It's not an indictment on any of these kids' characters as a man, as a student, or whatever it is. It's strictly looking at what is a results-driven business, and it's not adding up. That is what it is. Looking over here, stats and info. I guess this is rough. We just have a fantastic stats and info department headed over there by Will Manis. Adidas injuries jerseys have terrific airflow. They're actually cooling over a Nike, Under Armour, Jordan, etc. black jersey. I just think that it's way too many missed assignments. And it's constant. So it's just one of those things where it's not getting any better. So that brings us into this. Ralph, we'll get to the final thing, and then we'll open the phone lines and hear from people here. The final thing is, will Kevin Scherer make a difference? Now, for folks who don't know who Kevin Scherer is, he's coached championship level football. I don't even think that, like I heard someone say, like championship level football doesn't overlook someone. Guys, this team's not even bowl level football. So you can't. It's just dumb. It's dumb to think that you were championship level football. That being said, is Kevin Scherer going to make a difference? I mean, he could. I guess theoretically he could, but it's. I just think that the problems, whether it's personnel or scheme, I don't know how you fix that during the middle of the season. So I think you're going to run into another situation like you did last year, where it's just going to have to be like, you're going to do so much with so little. And I don't know what the deal is. Like, I don't know what the deal is on the back end between guys like Jalen King, Clayton Powell, Lamiles Brooks. If Lamiles Brooks is playing hurt, I can't speak to that. And maybe we learn more about that. But whatever is the product that is being put out on this field is not good. And we can't just say that it wasn't good here. This has been a developing story ever since that second half against Louisville. And it's the same concept of you show flashes, and you ultimately fall flat on your face because you're just not good. And we just have to call it for what it is. They're not good defensively. And Brinke has to do something about it. He obviously promotes Kevin Sherrod, demotes Andrew Thacker to defensive coordinator, or demotes him to safeties coach. Like, Andrew Thacker's got to be a dead man walking. Like, am I crazy for thinking that? Like, you're not just going to stay on a staff as a demoted when you're not even really inherited on that staff. And I'll ask this. I saw a couple comments about this on social media today and in our Discord. Make sure you join down in the link in the bio of this video. If this was the plan all along, like if the plan was to replace if things went bad, why not just rip the Band-Aid off in the offseason? It makes zero sense. Like, that makes no sense. So you're going to cost your team a chance at going to a potential bowl game. I mean, we can look at the schedule. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. I think that, I don't know why Thacker would be retained. I agree with Dr. Bob there. So that being said, yeah, it's why would you not rip the Band-Aid off? And I'm not saying that's what happened. I just think it's absolutely crazy. You can't explain it. I mean, the defense is just awful. They can't tackle. The only reason, okay, so let's go to this. GT 190, great comment, and we're going to open up the phone lines right after this. The only reason, I guess, to say the defensive recruiting class. So let's hypothetically, and Jake, I'm not trying, I'm just playing devil's advocate to your question here. If you're trying to save the recruiting class, this guy's not going to stay. Like, when have ever in our jobs, in our blue collar or white collar jobs, whatever you might be doing from Monday 9 through 5, whenever you ever got a demotion and stayed on? Like, that's not realistic. That's stupid. No one does that. That's dumb. Ralph's raising his hand. He doesn't. He stays in a basement. It doesn't matter. So that being said, I think we're going to open the phone lines because there's nothing really even more to talk about. It's just, it's feeble. It's a feeble defense that can't even get out of its own way. And like, I think there's a reason to be disgusted. So opening up the phone lines right now, they are now open. Call 706-940-2315. And just like that, I mean, just like that, state your name and where you're from. All right, state your name and where you're from, and make sure to mute the show. What's up?
Yeah, this is Dr. Bob calling in, the intern.
Oh, Dr. Bob. First off, Dr. Bob, how old are you? Can we get a clarification or maybe an age range that we're working with here?
I'm probably about a decade older than you guys are.
Okay, fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. All right, Dr. Bob, I know that you had some thoughts. You were in the comments. Appreciate you for tuning in. What just roll with it, man. Roll with it.
Well, I just want to talk first of all because I was watching simultaneously at the same time the game on the plains yesterday, and something that really just kind of stuck out to me is I don't think this year's Georgia team is as good as the past 2 years based off of what I've seen. But one thing that you do see the team in Athens do consistently is they have great line play up front on both sides of the football, and they tackle well. Those are the kinds of things that you have to build your program around. I've heard it before from other, commentators, and have been watching Tech football for a long time. It's important to have execution. It's important to have play calling, all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't show up consistently from week to week. What does show up consistently from week to week is great line play up front and just great tackling. And those are what you got to build the program around. I'm not sure what we're doing right now on defense. Like you said, when our defense has a game where you can get turnovers, where you can generate those kind of negative plays, we seem to be fine. But when it comes to a game where you just kind of got to grind it out, we just don't seem to have it in us at this point. I'm not sure where we go from here. Something tells me that I don't think we're as bad as we looked on Saturday. And trust me, I've seen some very disappointing Tech football over the years. I referenced the Middle Tennessee State game from 2012 earlier, and that was a pretty embarrassing performance. The team made some adjustments, got better as the year went on. I'm not saying we're at that point yet, but you got to develop the lines up front, and we've got to get guys out there who can tackle. And I think this is where we really need to start looking at some of those younger guys on the roster, especially on the defensive side of the football. It seems like Key, unlike the last regime, is willing to hold guys accountable.
Yeah.
One of the most positive things that I've seen from the year so far was when he benched Robinson at left tackle and went with McKinney, the true freshman, in the Louisville game. And I think it's time to do that from top to bottom across the roster.
Yeah, no, and once again, Dr. Bob, really appreciate you tuning in. We're going to keep moving along, but no, I think Dr. Bob, and y'all keep calling in. Once again, that number. I think that Dr. Bob hit the nail right on the head. Like, you got to build in the trenches. This team is so built on a, now they have a quarterback that can do the job. You've got, it just hasn't worked. Let's get to the next caller. Appreciate that as always. Once again, thanks for coming on the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Adam. I'm calling from Sewanee.
All right, Adam. Let's roll. What's your thoughts on this? 24 hours after the fact, how you feeling?
So, I mean, I don't really understand what happened yesterday because specifically last year, he did a lot more with a lot less. I don't understand how you have another year and you completely take 2, 3, 1,000 steps backwards, like on defense. I don't understand that. And I'm not a football coach, but I think that the solution that you need to have is you probably, if you're a defensive coordinator, you got to open up the starting positions. You got to be like, okay, you started the first few games, congratulations. Your job is now up for a challenge. If there's somebody else that wants it more, they'll get your starting job. Because there's no playmakers on defense.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm we joke about it. The t-shirts were made under the previous regime. Competition is king, and that was something that we were led to believe. I do agree with you in the sense of opening this up, let younger guys play. I mean, just it shouldn't matter. Like, rank shouldn't matter. Your year shouldn't matter. Like, if you can play, you can play, and we see it at certain positions. Great comment there from Anthony on the stream. We see it at certain positions, like a guy like Eric Singleton. Like, he can just ball, and he's showing that out in what is really a crowded wide receiver room. That's what leads me to believe, especially at that linebacker position, they just don't have a guy they're super comfortable with. It's why we see guys like Moala. It's why we see Andre White just randomly appear into a game like he did last week. We see a guy like Trinice Tatum that I think has – all these guys have the ability, but, man, it just hasn't worked. It just has not come together, and my fear is I just don't know how much you can do about that during a season because, I mentioned this earlier. You can't go backwards. You can't go back to fall camp and get more reps. You can't go back to the spring and redo the transfer portal. There's nobody else walking through that door. So it's a very simple question. And so it's a very simple question to me. Either this is one or two things. Either competition is not really happening, which that was the case last time, or you don't have the Jimmies and Joes. You don't have the guys. Could be a mix of both. So kind of your final thoughts on it before we move on.
Yeah, well, I think that there's some guys on defense that could be playmakers. I think the biggest disappointment this year for me is LaMiles Brooks. I don't think he's made much of an impact at all, and everyone thought he was going to be top dog on defense, the playmaker, the guy that led the defense this year, and yeah. I don't think he showed up very much at all.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, can't even speak completely to that because I don't even know if it's an injury thing. I mean, like I said, I don't know. And you hate the one thing I won't do. And once again, appreciate you for calling. We'll keep those lines open. The one thing I won't do is I'm not going to bash a kid if he's hurt because we just don't know. So we don't know the full scope of the situation. In that we don't really know like what they're going to be able to do, what they're going to be trying to do. So once again, I see a number calling in there. Maybe continue to continue to call in, get your calls in. We're gonna be here for a minute. We're gonna be here for a while talking about this game. Just utter disappointment. I mean, utter disappointment. I think a game that a lot of people circled, and a lot of people thought that you were just going to be able to kind of walk in and win. And obviously, you couldn't. We're here. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Key to success and Douglasville, Georgia. I was at the game.
Awesome. All right, so you were at the game. First off, tell me about the atmosphere. I was told that the atmosphere wasn't even good before it got ugly. Is that true? Can you elaborate on that? And then obviously whatever you want to talk about tonight as well.
It's definitely not that mid 2000s going to the Orange Bowl. Just not a lot of people there that I grew up with. It's more of it. It just looked like a Georgia Southern crowd, like, and a small one at that. The second thing is just there was a ton of recruits at the game, and that's not the game that you want to have the recruits at. And it is, but it's not had the performance you want to put on, because that's just, it looked bad. And all those recruits in there going, why do I want to be a part of that program?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, look, I've talked to, guys that have been at games like that. I remember, I guess it was the Georgia game in 2021 where Georgia came in there and beat them 45-0. And, sitting with recruits who've obviously at this point, fanned out and talking with some guys, you hope that these guys look at it one or two ways. Either there's an obvious opportunity for playing time, but I think that the thing is that you've had enough of a run now to where guys are going to start to question. And once again, thanks for calling. Guys are going to start to question. Is there something just fundamentally wrong with this place? And that's for me going to be kind of that for me is going to be kind of just the biggest question mark going forward, because you've got to kind of change the narrative. You can't just keep hyping up the city of Atlanta. And look, people are going to fall flat. Like, it doesn't matter who the face of the program is. If you don't, this is a results driven business. I don't care if you're a tech man. I don't care what you are. It's not. Let's keep rolling here on the phone. Hey, thanks for calling in. What's your name and where are you from?
Hey, yeah, my name's Andrew. I'm calling from Atlanta. I was also at the game yesterday. I kind of want to go off of what you were talking about, whether this program is just fundamentally broken. I feel like a lot of this comes down to the athletic board. The fact that a lot of the issue seems to be with whether Stansberry negotiated Collins' contracts and all that is one thing. And I don't want to get into the coaching stuff and who to blame and blah, blah, blah too much, but we need an AD again who can stand up to the board and can say, I'm ignoring your advice and I'm going to do something anyway, even if it's at the peril of his job. And I think that if J Bat is willing to do that, then we'll hopefully prevent some games like this down the road.
Yeah, I mean, Bat showed that he showed that a little bit with the firing of Pastner so swiftly, I would say, into his tenure. And you kind of got to hope that that's something where he's willing to go against administration. Look, I mean, I've mentioned, I think that there is a fundamental issue with how the institution looks and views athletics. You need to, you're either in or you're either in or you're out. And there's no in between. And I think for too long, Georgia Tech has been trying to find this fine line of being, both. And look, there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a good academic institution. I will say this. I do think that fans, when this team is so bad, and I want to also say this. I'm not trying to like crap on the whole season here. I think that, and I appreciate you for tuning in. I'm going to mute this real quick because I want to say this real quick. So we're going to mute the phone lines here for just a second. I want to speak to this because, you can still turn things around. You can still do things that you want to do. You can still, achieve some different things. I don't see it happening. I mean, I just think that this is, like we had a call, Dr. Bob said earlier, I don't think this team is as bad as they played Saturday. I also don't think they're as good as they played against Wake Forest. I think they're somewhere in between, which for me is around a 4 to 6 win team. That being said, in this day and age of college football, we've talked a lot about this. This season was really, really important for Georgia Tech. Like, when you look at what they needed to accomplish in not only the scheme and not only the sphere that is, Tech Avenue and that is, what's happening at Georgia Tech. It's also in the grand scheme, the 30,000-foot view of what they need to be able to do in college football, in the landscape. And, you talk about, and there's a lot of jokes made, and I want to get to what I was saying in a second, but I just think that this is not a good look. It's not a good look to have this going on. And I think everyone's frustrated with it and that too. I also wanted to say this, and this is something like I didn't go to Georgia Tech. I know not all the fans went to Georgia Tech. The comeback that where academics are better, these certain things are, it's funny. It's fun to make fun of other teams because they're not as academically like. I don't think also you need to kind of check and see like, you need to look at some academic stuff. Like all the other schools that are good at football are not bad, and we just talked about one. The Green had it there. What are we going to do to beat Miami? I have no idea. It would be very, very interesting. His team is going to get embarrassed by Miami. Don't say to believe that. Go back to Green 74's comment, the first one he's got right there. So Duke has very high academic standards, and it's just as tough as get into. They sell out their games, spend money on the athletic program. So yes, it can be done. Yeah, I mean they've got an elite basketball program, and then they have this football program where look, they went and made the right hire, and they got a guy who, was a proven, is proven in that sense. So I think that like they definitely can do this. You just can't get caught up in the politics. And it was one of the things, and like I said, I'm not punting on Brent Key. This is a problem, and he's going to have to clear this hurdle for sure. But this is what I was talking about with tying your proverbial hands behind your back and hiring the men's club, the boys club guy. Like it's one of the things that obviously was a worry about. We all know, like everyone, no one's immune to the fact that this decision was made by people who made it happen. And look, I mean, Will's in the background. I mean, obviously, we'll kind of we've spoken about this off the record. We've spoken about it as well. But like, I mean, you see what's happened down at Auburn over the past couple of years of have this kind of, this boys club. So, I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm punting on this idea of Brent Key being the head coach. Yeah, it can still happen, but he's going to have to navigate this. He's really, really going to have to navigate this. And I think the biggest thing that should tick Tech fans off. Okay, here's the biggest thing. You sat up there in a press conference back in whenever they announced you. I don't remember when it was, December of last year. And I was in the building, and you're literally spitting on the front row of the crowd talking about how you love this place and how you want to do certain things here and how that you want to make this place what it can be. And you're just having a field day with it. And you know what you're doing? You're pulling on the heartstrings of fans that have been put through the ringer for the past 5 years. And then you dare come out here and you have a team that doesn't even play tough. Like they're not aggressive in nature. So that's what I'm saying. I think it's and Ralph's going to have deja vu here. Deja vu. Words are hard. Deja vu here. It's an organizational failure. This game was top to bottom from the ball boy to the water kid to the guy that blows the steam whistle when they get first downs. This is an organizational failure. It's exactly what it is. And you can't sit here and act like that. I do think that keeping Andrew Thacker was a mistake in hindsight. I didn't think it was an issue in that. But I think that until you decide what you want to be and until you get the right people in there, this is what Georgia Tech football is. This is what it is. And there's just too much, dare I say, use the word nepotism, dare I say too many hands in the cookie jar to really be successful here. So, yeah, I mean, I think Georgia Tech fans have a right, and this is what this show's about. We're not obviously, we're obviously not in the credentialed media sphere in terms of this show, but this being a show for the fans, I think that, yeah, like this is your team. And when you sat up there in December and said these things, we haven't seen it. Like we haven't seen a tough team. You saw it at Wake Forest. And so what is the thought process? Is the thought process to go out there and, just play like your hair's on fire and hope it worked out for you? Maybe that is. Maybe you put so much pressure on a team offensively that they can't even breathe. I think that it is. Go to Will's comment down here. It's why there's always 3 coaches on the payroll. Tech does not want that. That's exactly what Auburn. I mean, Will, I know you're in the background. I think you can hear me. I believe you can. I have no idea. I believe that Gus Malzahn, they're still paying Malzahn. I believe they're still paying Harsin down there in Auburn, and they're obviously paying Hugh Freeze. That being said, it's just not consistent. And was it too much to expect? Probably so. Like, I didn't think this team, but I am disappointed. I am disappointed in the lack of just. I mean, Paul Moala said it. What did you overlook them? Like, who? This would be my question. Who do you think you are that you could overlook this team? You've gotten gashed by an FCS team. You've gotten gashed by other folks. And you got a team coming in there, which, hey, don't forget, NIU's in the MAC, and they took you wire to wire a couple years ago. Stop scheduling MAC teams. Don't schedule a Sun Belt team because Ralph will have a field day with that. I don't even know who you schedule at this point. Schedule Mercer in the SoCon. I don't know. They got a pretty good offense. They might beat you as well. I'm just disappointed. I think and Tech fans have a right to be disappointed in the sense of this team. If you want to play like you have a chip and short, maybe the guys aren't there. That's all I'll say to that. I don't want to call anybody out, in that sense. Opening back up the phone lines, keep those calls coming. Just obviously frustrating. 706-940-2315 is that. Troy been undefeated Georgia State 28-7, so take that as you want. Yeah, Ralph enjoyed that one. So one team took care of business. Two group of 5 teams took care of business in Atlanta. Yeah, I think that there's just a right to be frustrated. There's a right to be frustrated. And, go to Alex's comment here. He goes, where was the chip on our shoulder? Once again, those phone lines are open. Make sure you call the number 706-940-2315. He goes, where's the chip on our shoulder we had last year? It's like the team isn't fighting. Alex, I want to speak to this. I want to say this because this is also another concern. What would this team look like when the emotions of what happened last year wore off? What would it look like? We're starting to see. 5 weeks in, you got a pretty good gauge of who you are. And this team's 2-3 heading to play Miami, which is, it's just not good. It's absolutely not good. Will's watching on the TV. That's shout out, Will. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I don't think you can get to a bowl game now. Let's see. Fritz was there for the taking as Tulane double man. I'm so glad he's winning there. But being born and raised Georgia, being Tech alum first and foremost, it hurts more. Yeah, he's he's a good coach. He's a good coach. I think this is Zach. This is the problem. Sorry, Ralph. I just saw that one. I wanted to throw it up there. This is a big problem. Zach's comment says, Bryce, we have no idea who we are. Yeah, you thought you had an identity. And I talked about it. And so maybe I'm also, maybe I'm to blame in this sense of making people think this, you thought that you were going to be able to come in and establish stuff. And I think they have an idea of what they want to be, but man, they're so far from that. So far from that. And yeah, look, Dr. Bob's on fire with the comments. I'll throw up his most recent one there. Once again, phone lines are open. We're going to keep them open for about 3 or so more minutes. If not, we're going to get out of there and we're going to call it a night. But, this next week's going to tell us a lot. You have nothing to lose. I don't expect to win, but if Key's the right guy, you'll see a fight. Yeah, I think that's what you have to hope for going forward. You got to see a fight because if not, it could get ugly. It could get ugly for sure. Let's wrap it up here with a couple of last thoughts, and we're going to keep the phone lines open. Someone wants to call once again, 706-940-2315. Jonesy, I haven't gotten the phone call from you yet, or Mr. Justin Klingel. Don't know where you are. Make sure you call. Jonesy, I do want to hear from you. I want to say this. I do want to hear from Jonesy. And Jonesy, I'm going to tag you in the Discord right now because I actually do want to hear from you. I want you to call because I want to hear your honest to God opinion of what this is. I just tagged you in Discord. We play a game recently. I may have blocked it out already. My concerns with the head coach have been confirmed. Don't want to hear the first year excuses. Devon, completely value. Yeah. It's it's just abysmal. It's just bad. And the defense is awful. Once again, we're not trying to bash, but it is what it is. It's just not good. It's not good. We'll wrap it up right here. With this, does Kevin Shearer make a big difference? I don't know. I'm not sure if he does. I think that this is a fundamental issue. I think that it is something that you can't really correct. You can patch up during a season, but the question has to be asked: does Georgia Tech have the ability to patch this up during the middle of the season? I don't know. Like when you're just not even playing fundamentally sound football. Ralph and I were looking at this. Ralph, we might just do it. Should we just pull up the game and look at some of the plays? I mean, should we just do that? I don't know. I might, honestly. Like, we might have to take the phone lines down to be able to look at this. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I'm going to try to pull this up. We're going to close the phone lines down for this. We're going to have to mute we're probably going to get demonetized for this video, but that's fine. Yeah, there we go. We're going to look at this. Exactly. Look at that guy. Go get that guy. All right. Closing the phone lines. We're done with that. We're going to go into this video right here. I don't want to show the Travis Matthew ad. Not a sponsor. Not a presenting sponsor. Shout out Section 103. They do great. Man, the vibes were great coming into this week. We had a fantastic. Make sure like the video. Let me know in the comments. Did you love talking with Mike May? He was great. I mean, I know the echo was not what we wanted, but man, he was absolutely fantastic. Ralph, I'm going to share this. I want to make sure that I do not share the audio, and you let me know if it is indeed there, and we're going to roll. All right, we're going to look at a couple plays here. First off, the ACC network is just the biggest joke in the world. You can barely watch games. Celsius is not a sponsor, so what the heck are we even looking at? All right, so let's watch a couple things. So we're going to go through the highlights here. Haynes King just throws a dime. But you know what? Anybody should have been able to complete that pass. Bring Mike May back. He was absolutely great. Yeah, he was fantastic. So I want to go into this now. We got to look at some of these defensive plays. So here we go. We're going to start here. Okay, so this is Bowling Green's first drive. Now look, everything was going pretty well, all things considered here. Let's watch this. I just can't. I don't even know if I can. All right, watch this. So you've got 3 down linemen. You've got 2 linebackers here on the near side. You got a linebackers lining up over the center. Okay. Jalen King is standing on the 44-yard line. Not ready. Now he's ready. Okay, so here we go. Once again, this is what I'm talking about. It is 3rd and 9, and this defense is passive. Whoever this is up here at linebacker right here, and I don't know how well folks can see this, completely just passive. Ralph, I'm not even going to be able to see you or the comments, so I've got to zoom in here. Right here. Whoever is up here, it's not good. It's just not good. Linebacker gets taken out of the play, and he goes for a first down. So that's a problem. There's the guy who's now the safeties coach. Okay, so once again, you got Moala coming on a blitz, KJ Wallace in the slot, Chase Tatum. Good job. You were aggressive. That was great. Going back to offense. I don't even want to look at the offense because it just is what it is. Like, they're not awful. I mean, I love that play call right there. Keep rolling through these. Okay, so we're going back here. It's 14-0. Okay, Ralph and I could not believe this when we watched this. Oh, so you see the motion. They set the edge right there. You've gotten too far upfield. Okay, you see what I'm talking about? No, we don't want to do that. Did y'all see JOL over there? That was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious over there in the timeline. Okay, we're going back to this. Right here, you've gone way too far up the field. You have nobody. Now, I believe this is Paul Moala. He has gotten sucked down into this right here. This is wide open. You've got Spider. You've got LaMiles. This is not even on LaMiles. LaMiles is not even supposed to be playing this, but he's at the 49-yard line. This kid right here is going to have the ability to get at least on first down 6 or 7 yards before even being touched. Now, luckily, he falls down. doesn't get touched. So now, excuse me, this is KJ Wallace playing down, which I don't like him playing in run fits, but it is what it is. You've got 3 guys. This LaMiles gets blocked. Nothing he's going to really be able to do there. King has flushed too far onto the right side where he can't get over the top of this blocker. And you just have this tackle attempt where you're just going for the ankles, and this guy makes a beautiful pirouette move. Kenan Johnson, who is not a great tackler, we've all been able to see that, is able to get him down. That kid's an absolute bowling ball. Credit to him. Ralph, he had over 100-something yards rushing. It was ridiculous. It was wild. All right, you're in the red zone. Once again, they're going to fake this. Now, 11 right here crashes too hard. Linebackers, you're not, look, I'm not saying I could do this, but it's not, I'm not saying that I could do this, but it's not my job. It's just my job to no ball. That's what it is. Can I get a clicker? Can I get a clicker, please? Your linebackers right here, not in a position to be able to turn and get there. Quarterback rolls out. Effort right here, misses. Tries to go underneath. Once again, bad angle. You were never going to get there. And just my opinion. He's never going to get there. Like that, maybe. There, I'm not getting there. I'm not getting there. Kenan Johnson, dragged to the end zone. Also, I believe that's Perry Orth. And once again, this. You want to talk about toughness? At no point should this been a 2-point conversion or a touchdown, because they didn't get the touchdown there. Apologies. Watch this. Okay, boom. Right there. That is a 3-yard loss. I want a show of hands in the chat. If I just showed this to you blindly, you're like, that's a 3-yard loss. Even if he pulls it, maybe he comes right here. Maybe not, though. Boom. That's over. That gap fill. Trinidad Taylor's right there. You've done great. Everything you've done great so far. Zeke Biggers, the biggest human being on the field, has him wrapped up. Once again, you are still behind the line of scrimmage. What is that? You're kidding me. Bowling Green's doing that to you. If you even have, look at these people. They don't even know how to dress for a football game. They got character T-shirts and they're wearing dessert shirts out here playing. And it's just wild. They're like, what's happening? Is that a touchdown? We're a mid-level MAC team. They scored. All right. Just wild. Okay, so here we go. Play action. I like this. Like, I want to give Bowling Green credit. They called a great game. The Fighting Scott Lefflers, it's just wild. Okay. You've obviously gotten beat here on the play action. We can see right here, he's beat. LaMiles Brooks is trying to get back. Jalen King is beat. This guy right here is probably going to have the middle of the field open. LaMiles turns the hips, does a good job. Kenan Johnson, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you see a guy and you see his number on the back of the jersey and he's running around, and especially if he's a defensive back, not very good. Since they flooded over there and you don't have a clue, you throw it to the bowling ball. He bounces off of this guy. Is this Jalen King? Jalen King goes for the shoulder tackle. Now, I want an honest-to-God response. When this is looked at in film, there is no way they were making this tackle. Ralph, I see in the background, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong on this. You're not making that tackle. You are not hitting your guy with that shoulder, and you know that this guy, helmet to ball and tackles. Nope, bounces off. Tight ends like, holy cow, they tackle like that. I guess we're going to keep running. And Amari Harvey, former Auburn Tiger, makes a tackle. This kid Stewart, dude, he put up NFL tape on this team. It's just wild. All right, once again, empty set. Getting a little pressure. Good job by Kevin Harris here. Pushing that left tackle into the quarterback. It's exactly what you want out of the bull rush. You were in the guy's face. Love that. Love the upside. We need more consistency of it. We need more consistency. It's simply that. It is simply that. This is going to go on. We're going to look at this full thing. Once again, over the middle. Middle of the field's wide open. Can't have that. You just can't have that. Making sure we're Ralph, you said there's no audio, correct? All right, so they kick the field goal here to make it 14-10. He's not happy. Just complete feebility right there of whatever the heck that was we had to watch. All right, once again, after you almost get there, you don't get home. You don't get home. At this point, Bowling Green started to figure out we can really move the ball on these guys. Like we really can. Put this guy in motion. Once again, at this point, the linebackers do not have a clue because they are RPOing and read option running the option to you to death. You don't even know what to do. Show the QB sneak on third and 15. This guy cuts. Once again, I want to go back. I got to use my mouse here. We've got to get a setup. Someone call Brooks Austin right now. All right, once again, boom. Tatum sucked. Right in here. Right in here. Watch him. He gets caught up in that traffic. Cutback lane. Ralph, once again, former offensive lineman. Ralph. They are washing everybody down to the right side right here. And so what is this perfect for? The running back's going to cut it back upfield, and now he's got a lane. And then the audacity to get shoved to the ground by the quarterback. First down. 2nd and 9. So you had a good first down play. Mr. Bowling Ball, muscle hamster, just continuing to just beat the crap out of you. And now we got this. I don't even know what the heck this is. Guess we're showing an ad for 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You know who's got junk? This Georgia Tech defense. Not very good. Okay. Ralph, go ahead and throw it up now. Back up now. Here we go. All right, so we're back. So now it's third and 10. 3rd and 10. Here we go. Thanks so much for tuning in. Back to pass. You're getting pressure. Look at that. Once again, you're beating him off the edge. Flings it. Now look. This is just an unbelievable play. I mean, this is what happens in football sometimes. I'm not even mad about it. Like, it just is what it is. It's going to happen. You know what I'm mad about? Who the heck is this guy? Who in the world is this dude right here? Dapping up the opposing. First off, why is anybody letting him that close? What are we doing? At this point, they've got all the momentum. I mean, great catch. We don't need to watch it again. We've seen it 17 times on ESPN. All right, so Georgia Tech goes back to work on offense. Haynes King takes off. Not even mad about the decision. Get down. Please, for the love of God, get down. Once again, King. Okay. I want you to watch this. I don't know what the play call is here. I'm not inside the huddle. I can't tell you. What I can tell you is why in God's name is the left guard 7 yards down the field. Watch this. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Because if he were to have a chance to throw that, that's a legal man downfield. Instead, he gets thrown to the ground. I don't know what that was. And maybe I don't know the play call. I'm just pointing to what we're seeing here on the tape. Okay, once again, they bring this guy in motion. You know it's not man coverage. At least you would think, unless they're switching off. So what this is telling you is if it's man coverage, Spider is going to follow across or someone's going to pop out. Okay? Maybe it is. It is man coverage. Now you know it's man coverage. This is the problem with this. This guy has got a running start. Okay? KJ Wallace is not catching up to him. But what it does is it leaks out the tight end. The same thing that you do with Dylan Leonard, Luke Benson, Brett Seether, they're doing to you. Watch again. Moala, right here. Watch this linebacker. Gets sucked in, boom. RPO. They RPO'd you to death, and this is what happened. The guy leaks out right here. No, I mean, nobody, you can't even blame the guys down here. I don't want to hear there's a holding. You can't, I mean, where is everybody? All because I discipline. Once again, they're in the red goal this. I mean, look, This guy had 4 sacks last week or however many. I'm not even mad about this. This is a tough read. If you're Kyle Kennard, and Ralph, I know I was mad about this earlier. If you're Kyle Kennard right here, you got to commit to one, right? Like you can't just not go for one. So he commits to that. He pulls this, and once again, I will say this: watch the outside contain. Watch the outside contain. It's kind of there, but not really. Not really. If you funnel them back, if he can get a tad more, you funnel them back in the middle where you've got the linebackers. That's what it is. It's not good. It's not good. You just it's just good. So at this point they're up. I mean, we got 6 more minutes in this highlight video. And back on offense, Blaylock had a great game. I mean, this was the game they need to see. Okay, once again, here we go. This is it. Someone asked for it earlier. This is a quarterback designed run on 3rd and 15 from their own 8-yard line. Here we go. Shout out to Brandon James. Guys, they're giving you the football back. Watch this. Go back. Let's go back. Boom. All right. You got 3 down linemen. Technically, I guess you could say 4 here, but you're obviously in your passing situations. What you think? Brooks is backed up here. You're playing so far off. It kills me. You get too far upfield here. At this point, I'm going to tell you this right now. Once again, in real time, I don't know what you could do. I was not very good. You've all seen my highlights. Right here, if you see this guy running at you, it's a run play. It can't be a pass play. It literally can't be a pass play. Once again, we get blocked right here. You're shut off. The only person that's in the position to make this tackle right now is the referee. And he sidestepped. Let's go back and watch that. Watch the referee's nifty move right here in the middle on about the 16-yard line. Boom. I mean, the man hit the 2-step. I mean, that's just nuts. 3rd and 15, quarterback draw. Connor Bazelak, God to God. Once again, they're going to read option you to death. You see some routes starting to develop here. He pulls it out, and, it is what it is. Boom. Harris gets drawn in. I don't know who has this guy. Y'all remember seeing Keon White having to guard guys down the field last year? Same thing, different year. 20-plus yard gain. Just ridiculous. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Somebody's saying the black jerseys made them hot. My Lord. Once again, they're going to bring the outside receiver in. I'm going to fake the handoff. Once again, linebacker. These young guys, we talked about it earlier, you want to make plays. I get it. I understand it. What you cannot have, you can't try to overdo this. Do your job. Do your job. I don't know. Is that's his job? Because now we're just playing 7-on-7 football, and that guy's winning a foot race 10 times out of 10. I mean, watching the second time, the linebacker plays poorer than I thought. Okay, so we go here. I mean, it's every single play. It's just wild. All right. Ralph, what's the first thing they told you as a defensive lineman? If the guy in front of you does not block you or steps down there 20 times out of 20, someone is coming and pulling right up that gap. If nobody touches you as a defensive lineman, that's what's happening. All right, right here, boom, you get sucked in underneath. I believe this is Kenan Johnson on the outside. I'm not sure. Goes way too far upfield. Now, get to angles. Now, listen, Georgia Tech is a fantastic institute of technology. They need basic geometry. When we talk about this, Ralph's smiling in the background. I'm not smiling. My anxiety's through the roof. I've talked now for almost 2 hours about 2 teams that can't play deep defense. Right here, you're not getting them at that angle. What angle is this? What angle is that? He just outran you. This kid is going to be he's going to be the next Jahmyr Gibbs if they keep letting him play Georgia Tech every single game. Watch it again. Terry and Stewart. No one even knew this kid existed except for his mother and his grandmother. Watch this. Way too far upfield. And if I'm this tight end right here, once again, Ralph, I'm alluding to you because I don't want to come off like I think I know everything. If I'm this tight end and I know the run's coming right up my left hip, I'm going to keep letting you take your momentum and go. That's exactly what I'm going to do that. Exactly. There you go. Exactly. King. I mean, oh my gosh. All right. So, boom. Boom. You ever see? Okay, we're going to get something right here. I'm standing up now. Okay. So, here's what we're doing. You guys have seen Micah Parsons play defense, right? When Micah Parsons started doing this thing, him and Aaron Donald, where they literally practice like they're dribbling, and it gets them going into the motions of how they're going to be able to move. Like that's what it looks like. They're going to move and like this. So one, the offensive lineman knows nothing that they're going to be able to do, and it helps them create the momentum. Now I want you to watch this. Number 7. I think this is Leftwich. I don't expect this guy to make this block. God, I don't want to watch that again. I don't expect him. Watch number 7 right here. I mean, just do-si-dos. Leftwich didn't touch him. And once again, that's not set up. Great pass, able to complete the pass. It is what it is. All right, let's go to this play. I don't hate this play call.